This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just
Stop.
This is a sham.
How can you say you know what I'm feeling, know what I'm feeling? You don't feel nothing, nothing is healing. Time is just killing. How can you say you know what I'm feeling?
Ooh, welcome to DBL. I'm Tori in for Jeff, and he can probably dance better. All right, you just heard Drake's first single, Falling Back, from his new album. The video has him marrying about 30 different women in it. We're kicking off today's music-themed segment by talking about the rapper's new album he dropped at midnight. It's called Honestly, Never Mind. And fans are surprised because he seems to be taking his music in a new direction. So far, the album is getting some pretty negative reviews. One fan said, no disrespect, but that honestly wasn't it. While another said Drake's surprise album was like when your teacher surprises the class with a pizza party and you end up with this.
I'll take it.
I also like that pizza. But to be fair, let's listen to another song, because I don't think that's fair, just a clip before we give our own opinion. Everyone, ears up.
Oh, when you're ready, we can put this behind us. Maybe we can find us again. I know. Put this behind us. We can.
I love it. I don't know.
We got a yes from
I
Steph.
think this is bloody brilliant. Are you all?
I love it.
You like it?
I was listening to it this morning.
I think it's really. I was honestly expecting an absolute monstrosity after the comments, but I think it's bloody great.
Really?
This is what happens when you live at total intersectionality.
Well, tell me what you mean.
Drake has all of the quadrants. He has young, old, there's the gender quadrant. He has the socioeconomic quadrant. He has the
racial quadrant.
Right. So there's going to be something for everyone, which also means that sometimes there's not going to be something for someone. So I love this because I am a person who grew up or came of age in the club scene. So this makes sense to me because in Vegas this is going to be it.
That's what I was thinking.
Tell
too.
me what that means, the club scene, if you will. And also, what do you mean, why did you agree? What do you mean?
And Erica, you said Vegas. I was just like, you're a Chicago girl, woman. So Chicago girl. Yeah. And you came up with house music, and I'm a big house fan.
Yep.
I listen to a lot of house, a lot of Detroit and Chicago house, and this reminds me of that. And people that listen to house music, you go to dance. You're not going to wait in line and pay $50. House music is for the people. And this is really kind of what it sounds like.
It's hilarious that we're all calling this house. This is
I feel like it sounds like a house
poppy
song.
house I've ever heard in my life.
You don't think it sounds like a house?
It's like very
it sounds like
poppy
your
house.
BJ's saying definitely not.
Pop house.
But I wonder if house music to you means the same thing as it means to us.
But there's
Because
different
I
kinds too.
All right,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying the house music that she probably grew up with in England would be very different from Chicago.
It could be.
Yeah. All right.
The German influence is intense.
So that's 3 likes. Is that? I thought that would be weird. I thought somebody
I
would.
love My house music is like Vivaldi. I'm so boring. All right.
No, it's not in your
No,
house.
I know. I was just trying to make a joke. Beyonce's new album, Renaissance, won't drop for another month, but it's already sending fans into a frenzy. According to Google searches for the word Renaissance, they have increased 50% in the past day, and the phrase Renaissance definition more than doubled. We're also learning that the album will feature dance and country songs. Yes, and let me just say something. Renaissance in French means rebirth. Naissance, nay, when your married name, your nay, it's naissance, all comes from that, rebirth.
That's super interesting.
Is it?
I mean, it
You
is.
said it very nice.
Okay, thank you. What do you guys think about this album? Country, what do we think? Houston? She comes from Houston.
Yeah.
People really do need to understand how country music came to be and the influence that black people had on country music. So every time every black person, how people come from Mickey Guyton all the time, and it's like there actually is a very contextualized history of country music when it comes to the black community. The influence is very strong, and everybody needs to stop acting like black people are visiting. Like, they're not visiting.
They found
an
it.
example like Old Town Road. I mean, it works, Erica, and I think a lot of these times, like when people are fans of music or fans of an artist, if they change it at all, their fans are like, no, we want the same thing you keep giving us. But musicians, the people that make music love music. So they work with other musicians. So when we're like, why would Lil Nas work with Keith Urban? Because they're fans of each other.
Also, I think it's so important that artists have to keep evolving because otherwise you get bored. We saw Taylor Swift go from really heavy country to like pop.
Totally.
We've seen obviously Drake changing up into house. You know, like I think you have to as an artist. Otherwise you just get stale. We get sick of seeing and hearing the same thing over and over again. We need people to change.
Yeah, and it is. They're such creative people. All right, let's get to someone more royal. He's not royal. Sir Paul McCartney threw himself a birthday celebration during his concert last night at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. He had several special guests on stage to perform with him. Let's take a look at the first surprise for the crowd. I love these. You couldn't hear it really well, but it was the boss. That was the boss. It was Bruce Springsteen. He wasn't the only Jersey native to make an appearance with Sir Paul. Check out who also surprised Paul on stage to wish him a happy birthday. So if y'all didn't know, that was John Bon Jovi.
Tori go, who is that?
That was John Bon Jovi.
His hair is quite wild and free.
It's normally like
sleeked a bit more.
backed. Not
Yes.
It's a new look. We just talked about musicians reinventing themselves. So we can't
This
be
is his
hypocrites.
Einstein look.
Yeah.
I was all
I
over
mean,
this.
this is like the collaboration and performance of dreams. Like, seriously, Sir Paul McCartney and Bon Jovi on the same stage.
In Jersey
Steph,
with Bruce.
What is going on?
Steph, do you know what I thought about?
I did not get an invite, and I am just mortified watching it, the lack of knowledge I had. I had to flown across the country to see that.
Yeah, that was a big deal. If you're in New Jersey and you go just to see Sir Paul, and then you're like, Bruce, Bon Jovi?
I thought about the people that didn't go, because there's like, if the four of us had tickets and Steph's like, oh, I'm just gonna hang back and I'm so great.
I mean,
and
who
we're
does
like,
that to
and
Paul
then
McCartney
Bon Jovi
anyway?
came
I
out.
just don't feel like going. Shocking.
I believe that 11 from Stranger Things, maybe a producer could check me, is dating John Bon Jovi's son.
Oh.
That was so
Random, but
out
thank
there.
you for the fact.
I think that's
was-
cool.
That
I'm
was
excited
random,
for
but
that.
I feel like you
That was-
learn and you
Was
laugh.
that a
on the
Stranger
show.
thing?
It was a commitment to people caring a lot about all of that.
Yeah, if you didn't, you're like, what is
Tori,
he talking
I'm
about?
kind of. Is this the kind of music? Because I can never get a beat on what kind of music you listen to.
I love Paul.
Do you?
And I like.
You didn't seem that excited.
I love new Paul. I've been to see Paul McCartney's new stuff. Early days, his thing with Kanye. I really, really, really like Paul. I love the Beatles. I like more classic, the Eagles. I'm kind of a classic girl.
When you leave here tonight, what are you going to be listening? What's going to be the first song that comes on?
Probably Bleachers. It's a newer kind of song. Band. Jack Antonoff's in it. He produces Taylor Swift. He'll be at Red Rocks on the 20th, and we're gonna go, and it's our favorite band.
Oh, good for you.
And it's cool. He came from Fun. Do you guys remember the band
I
Fun?
remember
Yeah,
the band,
Nate
yes.
Roos.
Yes, he was the guitarist.
Okay. I appreciate you letting us know in case we didn't know what a guitar was.
Yep, that's what
There we
this
go.
is. Coming up on
More
DBL,
banjo.
our interview with the Blindside actor Quentin Aaron. He's telling us all about how he lost more than 100 pounds. And as we said, we are heading into Father's Day weekend, and we're talking about the best TV dads of all time.
That hair
Who is your favorite?
Oh, when you're ready, we can put this behind us. Maybe we can find us.
This June, DBL isn't holding back.
I've already spent my time and all of my sanity on trying to make you happy.
I like a little cheese on my potatoes. That's what's going on in my head.
That's what we need more of, conversations in this country.
Yeah, I like that. DBL is all new every day.
Well, you like so we're going to have a discussion at the end of this. So Tori, you will intro.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Tony Soprano. We're going to see a video with him.
You would think he's a good dad?
He's a TV dad.
I
He's
think a lot of
an
people-
iconic TV dad.
I think he's also.
We're not saying these are the best
I
dads
see.
in the world. We're just
He
saying
kills
these are iconic.
people.
I'm going with Uncle Phil from
For
Fresh
sure.
Prince.
Okay,
Definitely.
cool. Love that.
I'm going Danny Tanner. He was a great dad.
Oh yeah, he's good.
He was a great
We're
dad.
going to go through about
Well,
6 of these, and then we're going to.
For those of y'all watching, you're going to pretend like you don't know where we're going.
But mine might change because there's okay. I could go old school, Charles Dutton, rock, which I loved. He was like one of the first, like, you can go.
But let's not talk about it before we talk about it.
But that's what I'm saying, I want to give a bunch of them. That way people are off balance. Damon Wayans, All Right Then Kids, honorable mention.
No, we can get more into it. I am a firm believer, this is like a radio thing, but you never, ever say what you're going to say before you say it, because it never, ever comes out right the second time around. So, it's like bad, like,
Juju.
what did Tori do?
Poo-poo the bag.
You gotta poo-poo-poo it.
Yeah.
I'm very like, it makes me like my everything, and we do it every day.
I'm gonna squeeze a radio question in for you really quickly, because I've done a lot of radio promoting my shows. You know.
You're on radio.
And so, but like sometimes like when I be in studio, like when it went to commercial, the host like did not speak at all.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you don't want, like, it really is the best radio, in my opinion, and I spent quite some time in radio, is like when it's all coming out organically. So you're not, when you start to, when you say things once, then opinions start to get blurred. So something that you said gets picked up by someone else.
And then kind of steal your point a little bit.
Right, and then it doesn't come out authentically. So that when you say something, you have to say it right in the moment.
Yeah, because I was like working with.
Welcome back. We love a lady lead, but we can't deny how much our TV dads have taught us, from Al Bundy, oh boy,
yes,
to Homer Simpson. So today, we're taking a look back at some of our favorite father figures we had on screen. First up, we got Tony Soprano. Huh?
I love it.
Yeah, now of course we realize that Tony was, yes, a dangerous mob boss, but what wouldn't Tony Soprano do for his kids? Those who want respect, give respect, okay? Now what about Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show, Andy Taylor? Of course, I love when he was referring to Opie and said, I don't want him to be the kind of boy looking for fights, but I don't want him to run from one when he's in the right. That is such dad advice. Andy. And then there was Ward Cleaver, who always gave good advice to Wally and the Beaver, no matter what they got themselves into.
About that hair? Like, hey, son,
I think that's what they're discussing. I think they are. I hope they are.
Supercuts.
Yeah. Now, can't forget Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Not only did he have to deal with his own kids, but he had to deal with Steve Urkel's antics, and for that, we admire his patience. Let's not forget about Mike Brady. He supported the entire Brady bunch. I don't know what he did.
He's like an advertising.
Okay.
That was like a big TV dad job, I think. Was it advertising, Blake?
Architect. That's right. And he was named Father
started with an A.
of the Year after Marcia nominated him on the show. Remember that? And the one and only Danny Tanner, a single dad who had corny heart-to-hearts with his 3 young daughters on Full House, played by the late, I hate saying that, and legendary Bob Saget. Wow. I remember when the music changed and he would lean down. It was like time to get a lesson from Danny.
Yeah.
What was your favorite TV dads? I know, is yours from maybe British TV?
It's from Game of Thrones, Ned Stark.
Oh, that's good.
You've got to love Ned Stark. I mean, he holds it down. He knows how to hold down the rose. I mean, he did have his head chopped off, which is a bit unfortunate. But be proud of where you're from.
I love it. Yes.
Winter is coming.
Winter is good. That's good.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
cool. I have heard winter is coming. Yeah.
Erica, what do you think?
I went with Andre Johnson from Blackish.
Oh, very good.
Anthony
Anthony Anderson.
character. I loved that show. It obviously just wrapped up this year, but it was relatable.
Yeah.
You know, like it felt like something that my dad would say to me.
It was very modern, like they were very modern in what they said. Yeah, it was great. What do you think?
This might be too trite, but definitely for me it was Uncle Phil, his relationship with Will, and just, you know, everybody on that show and how he kind of was the calming voice in that crazy house of interesting people. I just think a lot of people gravitated towards that. So that was definitely me. And now I'm watching my son and daughter watching the reruns. So it's very strange. It just reboots itself.
That is weird. I would say Uncle Phil too.
But what would you say?
And I love Danny Tanner. But what's so funny to me is the first thought I thought was of the Bill Cosby is like America's dad, and then how that has shifted and how hard that is for a lot of people. But I think I would definitely go with Danny. Danny was like my father, very gentle, was like my father still living, but very gentle, lessons, lots of understanding, empathy, patience.
It's not getting your head chopped off then.
No, it's not.
I wonder, do you think that when people look for TV dads, do you want a dad that's just like yours, or do you want somebody that's like complete opposite? So if your dad is kind of like Tori's dad, would you like Tony Soprano? Because he's like, oh, a gangster, or like vice versa. Or if your dad's Tony Soprano, do you want a dad that's like, you should wear a ring with that? You know, like a fun, cool dad.
I don't think that dads are like dates, okay? Like when you, no, seriously, because it's like if you're in an intimate relationship with someone, there's might be other things that you're like, oh, I could see that jiving with my personality more if it's not working out. But with dads, I've never looked at another dad and been like, I wish my father, well, I guess, okay, you know what? I just realized my dad wasn't so terrible because what I was about to say.
Big moment.
What I was about to say was I've never looked at another dad and thought like, I wish my dad was more like that. I just had like a real come to Jesus moment.
That's an aha moment.
And it was hard. It was a journey to get here.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day for
That's good. Coming up on DBL. Remember the actor from the movie The Blind Side? He's starring in a new movie with Haley Duff. They're telling us all about the Baby Pact. Way to go, Roosevelt. Happy Father's Day.
QR codes have become popular with restaurants and other businesses throughout the pandemic as a touchless way to share information. Verify viewer Stephanie told us she received a postcard in the mail claiming to be from Amazon.com and inviting her to test a new product. The postcard said the recipient could scan a QR code to register their name and contact information if they're interested. And she wanted to know if it was legit. So we reached out to Amazon and they confirmed that the postcard that Stephanie received, it's a scam and it's not authorized by Amazon. The company encourages people not to respond to these types of messages. And that led us to question whether scammers can use QR codes to steal your personal information. So let's verify. Our sources are the Better Business Bureau and the FBI. Both the Better Business Bureau and the FBI issued warnings about QR code scams. The BBB says QR code scams are on the rise and have become a way for scammers to, quote, disguise malicious links since they can't be read by the human eye. The FBI says, quote, cybercriminals are tampering with QR codes to redirect victims to malicious sites that steal login and financial information, unquote. So we can verify, yes, scammers can use QR codes to steal your personal information. The BBB and the FBI offered these tips for avoiding QR code scams. 1. Don't scan QR codes that come in unsolicited messages from strangers, even if they promise gifts or other opportunities. 2. After scanning a code, check the website URL to make sure it's authentic before entering any personal information. And finally, don't download apps from QR codes. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till. Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter answers your questions, clarifies what's true and false, and even includes a daily fun fact. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
How you doing, gorgeous?
Well, hungry all the time, and I'm tired and stressed out and moody. Oh, and I'm pregnant with my dead husband's baby. How you doing?
Welcome back. That was a clip from the new movie, The Baby Pact. It's a sequel to The Wedding Pact and picks up the story 3 years later with a really dramatic turn of events. Earlier, we spoke to the stars Haley Duff and Quentin Aaron. Check it out. Haley Duff and Quentin Aaron, welcome to DBL.
All right.
Hello.
Now, Haley, in your movie, The Baby Pact, your character, Elizabeth, moves back to her hometown in Indiana. Now, you recently moved back to your home state of Texas. A lot of people are doing this. Can you tell everybody, like, what made you leave L.A. for the Lone Star State?
Well, you know, Texas is my hometown. It's where, or my home state. It's where I grew up. Half of my family is still here. And our plan was to always come back to Texas, but we thought it would be more like when our girls were going into middle school, and then, you know, the pandemic happened, and we were kind of looking for a little more space, a little more fresh air, and so we just kind of jumped into it. We just did it, and I'm so happy we did. It was very scary. I definitely went kicking and screaming a little bit. I did love so much about Los Angeles and my friends there, but I have found such amazing people here in Texas, and we're very lucky where we ended up here. We're so happy.
Quentin, since November, you've lost 170 pounds. Mazel tov. What inspired your weight loss journey?
My biggest inspiration for this journey was, wanting to continue living, but also being healthy. Still single, no family yet, and I want one. So, but not only do I want a family, I want to be able to healthily, I don't know how to say that. That's probably not a word.
That's a word.
I want to be healthy enough to enjoy, the experience of being a dad and a husband and all of that good stuff.
When we saw your hilarious video on IG of, an outtake from the baby pack where Haley has you cracking up.
Out. Yes. Out.
I'm sorry.
The behind the scenes, everybody knows, is the best. Did you have a hard time keeping it together during these scenes?
Yeah, we did. The Lamaze scenes were hilarious. First of all, that was my first time in a Lamaze class of any sort, not being a dad and anything. But the breathing techniques, I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, oh my God.
Poor Haley.
It was hard to keep a straight face.
One of my favorite moments is when Quentin is behind me doing Lamaze, and he's like, ooh.
That's so annoying when you're pregnant. I bet you're like, get away from me. The Wedding Pact ended on a happy note, but the sequel takes a dramatic turn. And I just wanted to know, Haley, what can we expect in this movie that's different from the first?
This movie is definitely very different from the first. The first ends on a really happy high note with her sort of like starting off her new fairy tale life. And the second one picks up with Elizabeth, finding herself in basically the worst situation you can imagine.
No one's going to give you full custody. Tell that to your lawyer. If you can afford one.
And trying to navigate through that and figure out how to start off on her own, how to start over, where to even begin. And I think one of the storyline that's so important with this movie is how it encourages you to realize that you need your family and your friends when things are difficult. I think there's a lot for us to learn from a story like this, and I love that families can watch it together and kids can watch it, and we're so excited that people get to see it now.
That's fantastic. Haley and Quentin, I cannot wait. Thank you so much for joining us. DBL Nation, be sure to check out The Wedding Pact 2, The Baby Pact. It includes breath dancing. It's available now exclusively on pay-per-view, video on demand, and other major platforms. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so grateful for that. Thanks. We'll be right back. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
Promotional Consideration is brought to you by...
Do you need some good news in your life? A little sunshine to brighten up those cloudy gray days? Well, then do I have a story for you. One day, a few New York doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center had an idea, and they wanted to organize an experimental study. Now, the funding they received was so teeny tiny that the study only included 12 patients, and they were all recently diagnosed with colorectal cancer, which is the second most common cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. this year. All 12 of them were in stage 2 or 3 of the disease. All 12 had yet to try chemo or surgery, and the cancer they did have had not yet spread to other organs. It's also super important to note that all 12 had tumors with a specific genetic mutation. It's called mismatch repair deficiency, or MMRD tumors. These guys are quite resistant to chemo and radiation. The experiment rested on a drug called dostarlimab. Doctors have used it before to treat other cancers, but never rectal cancer. This drug is a type of drug called an immune checkpoint inhibitor. And instead of going ahead and killing the cancer cells itself, this drug, this little nifty little guy, he goes into the body, he identifies and unmasks cancer cells Scooby-Doo style, and then binds to it and helps the body's own immune system attack those cells efficiently. So the 12 patients, they received an infusion of dostarlimab once every 3 weeks for 6 months. This treatment, and this is super important, was supposed to be followed up with chemotherapy and surgery for the participants. But let me tell you something amazing. Not one of the 12 patients needed it. 6 months after beginning the drug, all 12 were in complete remission, with nary a tumor being detected from any of them. And not one patient relapsed during the follow-up period, which was up to 2 years. Best of all, the 12 who were preparing for these life-changing procedures, if this didn't work, had virtually zero complications or side effects. You just don't hear this. 100% rate of cancer remission, it's unheard of. Quote, "I believe this is the first time this has happened in the history of cancer," said medical oncologist Louis Diaz Jr. The co-author of the paper, Dr. Andrea Sersic, added the experiment resulted in, quote, "a lot of happy tears." Now, the British pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline will be expanding the budget and the study to include more patients and to see if the results can be replicated. But it does offer us a light at the end of a very, very long tunnel. Now you know.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter helps you distinguish between true and false information by answering your questions. It provides fast facts on trending topics, spotlights major stories, and even includes a daily fun fact for all those trivia buffs out there. Get Verify's fast facts delivered every weekday to your email inbox. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
Welcome back. The woman who inspired the character played by Madonna in A League of Their Own revealed a very big secret at the premiere of Amazon's new series based on the film. I don't know what it is. Take a look.
I think it's a great opportunity for these young girl ball players to come realize that they're not alone and you don't have to hide. I hid for 75, 85 years, and this is actually basically the first time I've ever come out.
That is unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Maybelle Blair is 95 years young. Can you imagine living in your authentic self for the first time at 90?
And that, I mean, yeah, it's awesome, but it's also
very sad.
Terribly tragic.
Very sad, yeah.
Like,
I'm like crying because of
hide your whole life.
I know. I know. Bravo, mazel to her for living the rest of her life in authenticity. That's right. DBL's new every day.
And 95, not too late to get out there and date.
You're absolutely right. She's living it.
You're absolutely right.
Go.
And I liked her glasses. We'll be back Monday, same time, same place. Be safe. We're grateful for you to join us. Thanks, guys.